questions and opening arguments.
I respect John Barrasso, and I have to tell you, I have to give a healthy respect and say that I disagree with him when it comes to witnesses. He said at one point if they wanted to call the witnesses, they could have called them in the House. No, John, the second count of the impeachment is the refusal of the president to cooperate when it...
Wow. Oh, and the plot thickens. I had a lot of topics for you guys. I might put them in there for you. First and foremost, this issue with Elizabeth Warren. Never Warren. And I like the hashtag. I was watching one of these neo-Nazi channels, and it's, one I watch quite a bit. When I say neo-Nazi, they are definitely on the other side of the fence all the way. They're about as committed to their folks as yours truly is committed to ours. And, of course, the ultimate competitor. But it was funny, they have this hashtag called Never Warren, and I have to go ahead and agree with them. When yours truly was watching that so-called debate, I call it debating so white. It's so funny because debating so white and the Oscars so white, black folk are so, into what others, the machinations of how others control themselves, whether it's entertainment or politics, just is quite interesting. Anyways, when I was watching that so-called debate, and I know you guys heard the audio about at the end of Warren and Sanders going after each other. It was funny. CNN said, "Hey, you guys are you're still being recorded." I guess Warren doesn't know that everything's recorded. You don't just go off the air and think, okay, the mics are off, I'm gonna say what I need to say. Warren is there's no way in shape and form that she would be anything close to presidential. Again, yours truly said it. She's like a scorned school teacher, a kindergarten teacher. She's the kind of so-called kindergarten teacher that would go ahead and beat your kid and then tell your kid they better not say anything about it when they go home. I mean, I'm telling you, she is the worst of the worst. Okay, in other words, Trump 2020. Okay, the crotch-grabbing son of a bitch that told over 22,000 lies. I guess we're doing a poll to see how many he's gonna tell before he leaves. I think it's gonna be around 43,761 lies before he leaves office, depending. It'll be 83,000 if he gets a second term. But we're taking a poll. We're gonna start taking bets to see how many he's gonna have before, and that's why I think the crotch grabber is the best quote-unquote so-called president United Snakes has ever had, at least for black folk. Again, if we use him as the tool he needs to be used as, like everyone else is using. It is what it is. But anyways, Elizabeth Warren, when she had that, it was almost like you could tell right then and there, Bernie Sanders, and I have no love for Bernie Sanders. I mean, he's the worst. All you need to do is go ahead and put a Kentucky Fried chicken hat like Colonel Sanders or something, or an Uncle Sam hat on him, and give him a whip, and you'll see him out there going ahead telling Antonio Moore and Tariq Nasheed to go pick cotton. Okay, I mean, and he'll have some mint julep. The only thing he's missing is a southern drawl. That southern, Tariq, you go out there and pick some of that cotton, boy. That's the only thing you're missing out of Colonel Bernie Sanders. Okay, the Kentucky Fried Chicken. But anyways, the thing is watching this Elizabeth Warren, I mean, I know he said what he said, so what? All right, there's no way, there are no females that are capable. I'm gonna say it again, the sisters ain't gonna like this. Do you think I give a shit? This is your brother talking to you. Okay, your older brother who doesn't really give a rat's ass whether folks like what yours truly is gonna say or whatnot. Females are incapable of running this flea market called United Snakes, bottom line. And especially at Peckerwood. They're totally incapable of running the United Snakes. Okay? And especially for black folk. Totally incapable. United Snakes is a store. It's a flea market. That's all it is. It's a corrupt corporate flea market. And the only individuals that could run it properly, and especially hopefully into the ground, are white males. Okay? It's a corporation they set up, a store they set up for themselves, a trading post they set up for themselves. The most insidious, corrupt, vile trading post that many of you are duped into thinking it's a country. It is nothing close to being a country. And only they could run something that corrupt and vile. Even if they were going to try to go, basically every so-called president has done nothing more than kick the can and trying to keep the thing from burning to the ground. That's all it is. Any female that goes in there, she's incapable of continuing that process. She might even run it down to the ground faster. I don't think she could kick the can. Women cannot run a country, and I'm not talking globally. No, I should say, no, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Women cannot run a flea market. And I'm talking in terms of United States. That's better. Countries, that's a different thing. A flea market. United States has never been a country. Again, economically speaking, all it is the way that the Anglo so-called economy or Anglo world is. You grab resource wherever you could get it, mostly by exploitation, murder, rape, whatever it is. Grab the resource. You industrialize that resource. You commoditize that situation, and then you go ahead and franchise the organization. And that's how they all run. Especially these colonized areas. Canada, Australia, United States, Latin America, you name it. Bottom line, you don't like it, don't agree, I really don't give a fat you know what. Okay, and it starts with an F. Just deal with the truth of the matter. Eat the truth, go ahead, watch some Netflix and shut the, I'm being mean. But anyways, I had to be facetious. Elizabeth Warren was like the scorned female. I mean, you saw that scorn. And then afterward, instead of having, that was nothing presidential about that. Hashtag never Warren 2020, bottom line. No, hashtag never Warren anytime, okay? Because, fortunately, I don't think black folk will even get close to voting for her. Most black folk I know are not going to go to these so-called polls because, especially if there's a Warren there. And we all know Biden is about as inept and deviant as it gets. That's where black folks are putting, they're betting on a horse that should have gone to the glue factory a long time ago, along with his so-called boss that he worked for, that other one that should have been at the glue factory 8 years ago, or 4 years ago, excuse me. No, 12 years ago now. Anyways, the thing is Warren was like the scorned, you saw the evil in her face, especially after. Again, that was not the place to do things. Can you imagine that being and trying to talk geopolitical things with a more increasingly protectionist and now oligarchic Russia? Can you imagine her talking to Putin? Nukes would be flying just because he'd say, look, I can't stand this bitch. He'd be like, look, I don't care who gets it. Hillary gets your, and Hillary Clinton is the worst of the worst. But it's highly probable that Elizabeth Warren could have beat her to that title. Elizabeth Warren is the worst next to Hillary Clinton. There is no way, nothing presidential about her whatsoever. Nothing. That's like a little child, like a scorned, like somebody who stood her up for a date. I don't know who would want to date something that looked like, a female version of Max Kaiser. I don't know anyone that, does she have any children? And if she does, I wonder if her husband is blind. Because I gotta be real, there's no way on earth I could see anything wanting to go ahead and copulate with that, okay, at any time, all right? But that's a whole different thing, but I gotta be real. But the thing is, Elizabeth Warren is, and I gotta hand it to these neo-Nazis I watched, because they were like straight up, and I haven't watched the whole thing, they were like, CNN and Warren, that was a setup against Bernie. And a lot of these, quote unquote neo-Nazis, they know Trump didn't get them what they wanted, but Bernie's the best bet. The angry white boy type thing. And that's what Bernie represents. It's just a very quote unquote socialistic factor. If they can't get Trump, they'll go with the angry white boy called Bernie. Because again, the only thing that can run a flea market, especially one that's going into the toilet, is the white male that set it up in the first place. And he's the only one that should run it in the first place. Again, black folk, you live in the belly of the beast, and you should give it E. coli and exit through its nostril, let it die, because it's about to. but y'all don't want. No, you want to identify with it. I mean, there's some things I had a post about some of the celebrity nonsense, but I don't like to get into celebrity stuff. That's their lives. Okay, they put their pants on one leg at a time. Except for your black male rappers and athletes. They don't. Nowadays they're not into wearing pants. I don't know. Ladies, how do you put on your dresses? Like you don't put it one leg at a time or whatever. I mean, it's, hey, I gotta call it as I see it. I see more black athletes in dresses. So, but anyways, and I'm talking male athletes. Anyways, the thing is you've got a scenario where Warren, there's nothing presidential. She would be, I think it's menopause. I think it's post-menopause because she's too old to have it. She's post-menopause. I think what it is I think that it's that, it's like finally I could get back at males. You can't bring that into it. She is no Merkel. Okay, and Merkel is a joke. She is no, what's the name, Theresa May, and that's even a greater joke. Or even a Margaret Thatcher, and that was like the devil incarnate. There's no way an Elizabeth Warren could do anything presidential. Again, the best thing they could do is put her in a classroom and she could be the evil schoolmarm, because she even looks like it. Like I said, she looks like you remember that hey little pretties on the Wizard of Oz, the original. She is the original Wicked Witch was it Wicked Witch of the North? She is, I mean, the whole she's got the entire vibe. She's like the evil Wicked Witch, Dorothy. I gotta be real with y'all. I'm just watching this thing, and I said, wow. I hope that folks in the United States could see what they would be facing. They have much better chance, including whether they go to World War III or not with Trump, than they would ever have with Warren. Trump's a jokester. He's a liar. He's a con man. He's a grifter. He's a deviant. Okay? He is a Klansman. He is all of the above. But one thing that he is as long as you can negotiate, he ain't serious. And I'm talking as long as you can negotiate and make his ego feel good. You can get whatever you want. That's what the flea market needs. You put an Elizabeth Warren behind the nuclear trigger, oh man. First off, she'll nuke Vermont. Because she'll say, where's that senator that used to be my friend that told me I was a liar on national TV? And all of a sudden you guys would be, black folk leave Vermont. If Elizabeth Warren becomes president, I caution you, all black folk leave Vermont, okay? Because I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing you that something might happen in Vermont, okay? It might be a biological attack, it might be a nuke, but if Elizabeth Warren gets elected United States president, black folk leave Vermont immediately, okay? The hedge funds, I know they'll be pulling out anyways. They'll be like, the ones that are still left. They'll be like, oh no, because she's gonna nuke it before she goes ahead and tries to nuke everything else, because that evil woman Scorn. Kim Jong-un, Dorothy, Kim Jong-un will be like, oh shit. He's gonna put a Starbucks in his living room. No, I'm pro-America now. But anyways, no, I was watching that, and I saw just how wicked Elizabeth Warren really is. How unpresidential Elizabeth Warren really is. She is so, have absolutely no grace, no ability for finesse, no ability, it's that evil, it's the thing about these so-called liberals, that I'm gonna try to attack. Bernie Sanders, he don't want nothing for black folk, irrespective of the so-called head of his campaign or one of them, that this Turner or whatever. No, Bernie does not like black folk whatsoever. Oh, I marched with Martin Luther King, and no, come on, okay? Things change over years, okay, irrespective of, a photo op. I'm gonna tell you something. The only two that I saw that had any kind of, that had the ability to approach what's called presidential and run the flea market and, kick the can, it's gonna burn. But at least they can kick the can called the United States, and they're dousing out flames wherever they can. The flames are getting, this like a 5-alarm fire, but at least they're trying to douse them with buckets. Trump's dousing it with gasoline at the point, but he's able to kick the can. He's like, no, don't worry about it. The wind will blow it out. It's a California forest fire. No worries. The wind, I've seen wind blow it out. Trump's been, looking at his birthday cake, and wind works on fire. Yeah, okay. it blows it out all the time. Yeah, right. But anyways, what I was watching, the two are Tom Steyer and Klobuchar. Klobuchar. The reason yours truly would want Tom Steyer to be up there as a Democratic candidate, even though we know he's got the, you could tell by looking at him, he's got something that's like, you have to really side eye, like there's something really weird about this dude. He's the kind that you're afraid that, that if you see some yearbook photos, of him, he might be the one that tortured cats, and the only reason he's not like, America's Most Wanted, serial killer is because he got into government, Yeah, he looks like the kind that used to like pull frogs' legs off just for fun. But, you got to side eye Tom Steyer, but the thing I would like to see is a billionaire cat fight between him and the faux billionaire, the false billionaire Donald Trump. I would love to see that cat fight unfold between him and Donald Trump on a debate. I mean, you can't imagine. I mean, how? And Klobuchar, like yours truly said, she's like Aunt B of Andy Griffith. A very, you just want to say, okay, she's like blank paper or trying to watch the hands on the clock. Just really nothing. Okay, but she had a lot of quote unquote, for lack of a better term, at least practical, and that's what she calls herself, a practical candidate. She is. Time is practical. The hands on the clock are practical, but you don't want to go ahead and see them. Okay, you don't want to go ahead and concentrate and just watch them. You got other things to do instead of trying to watch the hands of a clock. It's like watching white paint dry. Okay, just call me when it's done. Okay, it's practical, but just tell me when it's done. But she reminds me of Aunt B and Andy Griffith. I mean, Klobuchar is like a spitting image of her. But anyways, yeah, Steyer, Klobuchar would be the great ticket for the Dems of at least going ahead and going against the crotch grabber and Pence, even though there'll be a landslide no matter who gets up there. Trump is going to win, and watch him lose, and everybody say, "See, you said he was going to win, man." Trump. I mean, with the freak show you got of the so-called Democrats, whether it's the ones, handing over their so-called impeachment papers, or the ones that they're trying to become president. It doesn't matter. He's in. Okay, he's in. You got the Steve Bannons, the John Wayne Gacy, because Steve Bannon is a Bhatti boy. Okay, he's broke back Steve Bannon had so many male partners. I mean, he'd make Marco Rubio look bad. And Marco Rubio is the king of the bathhouse down there in Miami. So it's like, Steve Bannon be sitting back going, look, man, Trump's going to get in. And him and little, Alex, or whatever, Zasanov, or whatever that little, what was that dude's name? The little freak that had the black lover. There was alt-right, Breitbart. I call it Breitbutt because you know what that whole organization's about. I mean, that whole organization is a fruit factory. Okay, that is what it is. That's what Breitbart is. And it's amazing because the black homo society doesn't necessarily see the racism on their quote unquote sexual counterparts on the other side of the ethnic line. It's quite interesting. What deviance will do. I guess it blinds a lot of folks to the reality of what's really going on in the world, but it is what it is. Anyways, no, don't ask me, ask Ed Buck. But anyways, this thing with Elizabeth Warren, just watching that debate and watching her demeanor and watching, just the whole overall aspect of how wicked she got toward the end, and not, saying things off camera and saying, look, let me shake hands, because you have to put on those type of things when you're the representative of a store, irrespective. Have you guys ever been in a store and something happened real crazy and the manager does everything they could to go ahead and dial down the volatility, dial down the angst, and shake your hand, okay, sir, and then when you leave, he's probably calling you everything but a child of God. But at that time, something goes on, they're trying to put a brave face on the incident because they don't want the volatility in their store. They don't want to bring the image of the store down. Elizabeth Warren, when she, at the end of that debate, when she's arguing, you calling me a liar, and Sanders, he said what he said, and he's right. Women cannot run the United States. They should never be elected president because it is not a country. It is a flea market. And I had to correct myself earlier when I said about running countries. Women can run countries, but not flea markets. And I'm talking the United States in particular. The thing is when you saw her demeanor and you heard what she said, that ego and that woman's scorn, that female scorn, that, again, If you said something bad about a woman's shoes back in 1982 and you saw her today, I don't care even if it's your mother or your sister, she'll remember that. And she'll bring that up in a heartbeat. You know, it'll be like, wait, I said what? I didn't know I did that. Hey, I ain't mad because, hey, sisters, you know yours truly loves you. I'm your big brother, and you know your brother's telling you exactly what it is. Well, that woman's scorn that she brought to Bernie Sanders on camera, this is the kind of thing, you don't want that to represent your store. That demeanor, the inability to go ahead and shake hands and go, oh, it's all right, this and that, and then go back upstage and say, well, you told everyone I was a liar, you lying. She didn't want to, again. So that knocked out, hopefully, both Bernie and Warren. I hope that knocked them both out of the running, and I'm almost sure it will knock the ability of folks to see that those two could lead anything. Okay, the ability of the United States public, who needs the flea market, that, you know, and not just them, but the corporates and the international that have invested in the flea market, that loan the credit and the bonds and what, or buy the bonds for the flea market. They're looking at that saying, oh no, we're going to have the crotch grabber. We cannot let this represent what we've invested in, whether it's the Chinese, whether it's the Russians, you know, the new oligarchic factor of the Putin, the country formerly known as Russia, okay? Putin is the artist that made the country formerly known as Russia exist, because it's now called Putinville. I love that. I am so glad the whole government said, all right, we out of here. And Putin's like, finally, you know, he drained the swamp. Trump didn't drain the swamp, Putin did, okay? I might do a whole video on that one. But the thing is, you know, just watching the demeanor of Elizabeth Warren, hashtag never Warren, never Sanders, never Democrats, crotch grab 2020, Trump, grab him by the crotch 2020.